Happy Monday and welcome to Three of Cups Divine Arts. This is Liz Whitaker. I'll give everybody a few moments to pop in here. I'm going to share it around. All right. So today is Monday, and how is everyone doing today on this little chilly here in Buffalo, New York, Moon Day? All right, so I'm just sharing it to a couple places. And all right, looks like we have a few people on here. Again, we'll just go ahead and let a few more people pop on. Once you do pop on, please say your name, where you're from, pronouns. All right, Ramona's here. Hi. All right, we'll go ahead and Syracuse. Probably not much warmer there. Hi, Susan. Welcome to Divination Station TV. I'm Liz Whitaker, your host for this broadcast. Today I will be talking about the next step in the Fool's Journey, which is the Chariot. When you join the live broadcast, please take a moment, drop your name, where you're from, and your pronouns in the comments. If you are watching a replay, please comment #replay. Lets us know that there is interest in the replay, and we can also get to any comments that are posted in the replay. Remember to share the broadcast and comment #shared in the comments so we know who has shared. All right, Ramona, I'm going to go ahead and start my list now. If you do share, there will be time at the end of the broadcast, and I'll go ahead and do some one-card pulls. So make sure you do share to your group, your page. All right, and we have Tracy joining. Hi. Don't forget to love or wow react this video. Share to your page, tag your friends, anybody you think you might be interested. You'll not only be helping us improve our organic reach on the page, but you'll also be helping people who might be interested in finding me and Three of Cups Divine Arts as well. I hope you enjoy the show for this evening, and I hope to get to know you a little bit better. Okay, looks like Alice has popped on. All right, how's everybody doing today? Hi, Heather. So today we will be going over the Chariot. Just to recap, last week we looked at the lovers. So we talked about partnership, we talked about choice, making the choice between two people, two situations, anything like that. Namaste to you as well, Ryan. And thank you, Tracy. So after the lovers, we have made that decision. So what do we do after we make a decision? We have to move forward with it. We can, start the partnership. We can decide that's the direction we're going to go. And then the next step is going to be to move forward in that direction. And that's exactly where the Chariot takes us. And let me just go ahead and shuffle my piles here. Cold but good. Oh yeah, very cold. Lots of spring cleaning. I like to start my spring cleaning about this time too. And that, kind of goes along with Imbolc coming up. If you do follow the wheel of the year, it's usually February 1st, that beginning part of February, and I tend to want to clean a little bit more around that time than even when it does start to get a little bit warmer. I really like to get a good declutter, a good deep clean in there. Looks like we have April. Hello. All right. And as you are sharing to your group, your page, your personal page, business page, anything like that, please comment #shared. And I'm trying to keep a running list as we go. All right. So we're about 8:06. So I'm going to go ahead and start. So today we are talking about the Chariot. The Chariot represents the zodiac sign Cancer. So it's a water element card. So it has an element of emotional depth. Even though when we first look at it, it might not really feel that way. And I'm going to explain why it represents Cancer, what it represents about emotions, and some more correlations with that. So keywords for the Chariot, which is number 7 in the major arcana. So our Fool's journey, so we start with the Fool, and the Chariot ends the first septenary. A septenary is 7 rows of cards. So if you are laying the majors out, always a good thing to do if you get a new deck, you want to put the Fool either at the top or at the bottom and make 3 rows. The first row is going to be the Magician to the Chariot. So all of those energies are like the big archetypal life-forming energies. It's how we get started. We kind of start with that idea, then the idea manifests, then it goes into society, and then we bring another person in, and now we're moving forward with that idea. So that's the first septenary. So the Chariot is all about moving forward. And just kind of at first glance, you're like, Chariot moves forward, pretty straightforward. Got it. But there is more to the Chariot than that. The Chariot doesn't look particularly like light and agile. It actually looks like it's made out of concrete, and he's really protected. So if you think about the Chariot representing Cancer, the crab's in its protective shell. Still moves forward pretty quickly once they make that decision too, but they're protected. So the charioteer is protected. He's got a scepter over here, which is very similar to the one that the Magician holds, but this one's a little bit longer, a little bit more for driving the Sphinx in front. So the Sphinx in the front, we have that idea of duality, like we did in the Lovers. We have the dark and the light, the anima and the animus, which would be the male and the female. Masculine and feminine are kind of represented in those energies. So it's all about striking that balance. And we can move forward, but the Chariot has to be balanced in order to actually move. Otherwise, it's just going to kind of wobble. I just got like an image of of a shopping cart with like the wobbly wheel. That's what it would be like. So the Chariot has to be balanced to move forward. And, it's got the symbolism of the wings moving forward again. It has the stars, so kind of brings in the celestial aspect of the Empress. So we have stars there. And on his epaulets here, he has moons. So kind of reminds us of the High Priestess. The stance is kind of similar to the Hierophant and of the Lovers. So it kind of pulls in elements of the cards that precede it. So he's moving forward, and it looks like, and he's got the square, which is an alchemical symbol for stability. It's got the 4 sides there. So he's going to move forward, but he's going to move forward in a way that is stable and in a way that is balanced. And the Sphinx, you might think he's kind of consulting with them. There's some energy there. There is that duality as well. Where are my, okay. So with that, it's strong will, it's achievement, it's anything moving forward. Calm exterior and keeping your feelings inside. that's, how the card kind of represents Cancer. So it represents a zodiac sign of a lot of feelings there, but you're not always going to see them right away. It can mean literal travel, especially when combined with other cards that indicate travel. So you want to look at what your passion is and where. Francita, first time watching. Well, welcome. So I will go ahead and, yes. Bridget, hello. Tina, hello. Looks like Facebook comments were behind and we're catching up. Milagros, hello. So we do have a new person. I'm Francita. We do card pulls at the end. And if you do share the broadcast, that's what all we ask is that you share to your page, any groups you're part of, anything like that. Yes. Yes, it is associated with the sign of Cancer, which I know you know a little bit about. And let's see. So we do have the Crown of Stars. We have a lot of recalling symbolism in the previous 7 cards. So it kind of pulls energy from each of those cards and ends that septenary. Cheryl, hello. Thank you. So when the Chariot comes up in readings, I really find this is a card you really have to see what's around it and see where the energy is going. How is it moving forward? What's next to it? What's above it? What's below it? If you do get it as a card of the day, it generally means that there might be something that you have been working on and you should move forward with it. And it's, once you pull it, it's pretty clear what it is. Ashley, hello. Does anybody have any, experience pulling the Chariots, where it's told them to move forward? I know this card can kind of come up and seem tricky, especially, with the association with Cancer. But like I said, once you kind of really break it down, it's really in there. And the Chariot is kind of at the end of that first septenary, so it kind of captures a little bit of the energy of all of the cards preceding it. And sevens, numerically, 7 always asks us to look within. Why are we moving forward? Is it in our best and highest to move forward? Are we doing it in a balanced and centered way? All right, Leslie. All right, we got a few new people popping on here. So I just want to remind you, if you are popping in, please say hello. Please comment where you're from, pronouns, and we do love shares. We do card readings at the end. I do. And if you do share, we'll go ahead and pull a card for you. Allegro says, for me, this indicates whatever decision you make moving forward, it will be a positive outcome. Yes. So when it comes up and it might be reversed, I don't tend to read reversals often, but it can mean like stalling out. There's something preventing that very direct forward motion. And thank you. Hi, Nick. Once we pulled it reverse and had a minor fender bender. Yeah, so sometimes tarot can be very literal. When you pull the Chariot, you might be going on a trip. You might pull it backwards or might pull it reversed, and you kind of have that little bit of a fender bender. So it always wants to, yes, yellow in the background is happy movement. So anytime you do see yellow in the tarot, it's generally that idea of happiness. Think of the sun. We'll get there if you're not really familiar with the sun card. It's a really bright card. And here, it has the blue, the curtains there are blue. Blue always represents water. We have a little bit of water behind it. So it's kind of moving forward, either through emotions, away from emotions. Yeah. It is associated with drive, with your will, strong will to move forward. Almost, I don't particularly care for the term fake it till you make it, but kind of that idea. You're going to push forward, you're going to do it, and you're going to do it because you're doing it. And you end up in that place, and then you look back and you're like, oh, wow, I did it. I kind of associate it with that will. This card. So this deck is Rider-Waite, just Rider-Waite Smith. I do refer to it as a Rider-Waite Smith. The illustrations that are so iconic in tarot imagery were all drawn by Pamela Coleman Smith. And Arthur Edward Waite did give the idea and kind of say what he wanted to be represented on the cards, but she never got credit for it or money or anything while she was alive. So in order to kind of give her credit now, I refer to it as a Rider-Waite Smith deck. You will see it as Rider-Waite deck. There's several variations. This is kind of the like classic. There's Radiant Rider-Waite, which has a little bit brighter, more saturated coloring. There's a Centennial Rider-Waite Smith edition. It's usually in the tins. That one has a more muted colors. It also has two separate cards that were drawn by Pamela Coleman Smith that aren't part of the tarot like system, but they're in there to be read intuitively. So when they do come up, I wasn't sure what they were. My friend had the deck and she pulled those and I'm like, what the heck are those? But then I looked into it a little bit more, and Pamela Coleman Smith drew them to be really a guide to your own intuition. There's the Albano Waite Smith deck, which again is a different coloring. So it's anywhere that sells tarot cards is probably going to have some version of this deck. All right, and we had a couple other people pop on. Corinthia. The Sphinx are what immediately grabbed my attention, is what Ashley said. So with that, when you are reading, that's a great observation. Once things pop out to you, you want to pay attention to that. What does that mean to me? So if the Sphinx pop out, I'm going to say, look at both sides. I would kind of, and this is just, again, off the top of my head, how I would interpret that. Look at both sides, make sure you are balanced in that decision to move forward. Radiant, yep, there's the Radiant Tarot, which again is like much more saturated colors. I like this one and the Centennial Smith, Centennial Rider-Waite Smith myself. Those are kind of my favorites. This is the one that I do tend to read with most. Some of them are going to have different backs. This is a deck that I have had for over 20 years. I actually don't remember where I got it. I don't remember how I came across it. All I know is I kept it in a wooden box when I wasn't reading it for a long time. And I can tell what some of the cards are because of the coloration from the stain on the wood. So yeah, this deck has been around for quite a while. And a lot of books are going to, I have a couple right here, are going to focus on teaching. That's why I chose this deck to do these lessons with. All right, and let me just catch up here. Okay. So yeah, the Chariot is one of those cards that when it comes up, you want to see what pops out at you, because there's a lot going on, but the meaning it tends to be moving forward with that drive. So once you have your partner from the Lovers, once you kind of have your, partner in crime, your business partner, whatever that partnership was, you've made that choice, and now you're moving ahead with that choice. I thought I had the Lovers over here. I might have put it back. So you've kind of gone ahead and made that choice, and now let's see what happens with that. Is tarot a personal interpretation, or is it a universal meaning interpretation, is what Tina asks. So I'm going to give the super annoying answer of yes. Tarot has a system. So it has a system of interpretations. So keywords. You're going to see, with the Chariot, drive, will, balance, anything like that, strong will, achievement, But with that, you're also going to, we all tap into our own personal experiences in anything and everything we do. And we're going to bring that's part of our intuition. And when we read, it's why everybody reads differently. Some people are card readers. They will read the imagery on the card. They will read the combinations of the cards. So, and I'm just grabbing a couple here. So, they will read this combination of cards. Some people read almost entirely intuitively, using the cards as a guide, as kind of like that structure to fill in. So it is, that answer is both. So that's, when I read, I'm going to get the keywords out. I'm going to write that tarot sentence, and then I'm going to look at the specific card. What pops out at me? Are the backgrounds all yellow? Like someone had mentioned, I'm going to make those, I'm going to see those patterns. Do we have, the sun in the background? Are all of the backgrounds, have that yellow? Do more, and I'm just really rifling through this deck, or is it going to have, one blue in the middle? So it's all about looking at, yes, exactly like telling that story. Ramona says, I'm an intuitive reader. She doesn't tend to follow the traditional meanings. And that's totally fine too. I've done readings where, you have the traditional meaning and it doesn't resonate. It doesn't mean it's the wrong card. It doesn't mean, it's the wrong reading. They asked the wrong question. Something else is going to pop out from that card. It can be how the people are looking at each other, especially with court cards. So if we have, this combination, and we have the knight looking at the chariot or looking away from the chariot, it's going to kind of change that meaning. So it's all about knowing the pattern, knowing the system, and knowing to go and how to go around it, knowing how to read outside of that box. And Ashley says she has the Crow Tarot. Beautiful, beautiful. And you're going to have some decks that are like Rider-Waite clones. So they're going to have similar imagery with different figures. And we're going to go through some of those cards now. Like we have the Chariot in the Tarot of the Cat People. So, we have more, this is the, more identical cats. We don't have that idea of duality, but we still have the Charioteer. It is blue. So it still has that watery element, that watery feel. He does look like he might be riding into a battle. Looks like he might have a headdress, might be a ceremonial headdress. We definitely have that idea of moving forward. He's actually holding the reins, herding cats, Sorry. And Milagro says, I read, but I see more of what goes on and fills in the blank. Yeah. I would say you're an intuitive reader. That's kind of what it sounds like. There are people that read more with a psychic medium tip. So they'll kind of channel the spirit guides and have them speak through the cards. So the reading might flow a little bit differently than an intuitive reading. If you're reading, a specific Celtic cross spread and you're more of an intuitive reader, it might feel like you're boxed into making something fit a specific narrative. It's kind of why I switched to a more fluid 9-card spread. So I do, a grid 3x3. It's a little bit more fluid for me because I read the symbols, I read the cards, and I also pull in intuition. So when I have a spread that's a little bit more flexible, I can do that. I do use the Celtic cross, which is the Heidi just joined. Hi, Heidi. which is, you have the cross, the card in the middle, 2, 2, and then the 4 up the side. My cat is bringing me a toy, so I have to say good mouse to her when she does that. So that's the Celtic cross, and every card has a meaning, right? You have what it's about. You have the past, the future, as above, so below, however you are doing it. So everything's a little bit, well, thank you. You're a little bit more locked into the meanings there. Like this card is environment. And if you get something that doesn't quite fit, that's why I switched to a more intuitive spread. So the Chariot in the Tarot de Marseille. Here we have 2 horses. It almost looks like you put a mirror by a horse and you're kind of getting that 2 aspects, but they're kind of looking the same way. And it says PM. So I would have to see what that means because I want to know. But otherwise, the setup of this Chariot similar to the Rider-Waite Smith, except the wheels are kind of like sticking out the side, like that looks funky to me. And Katie's asking, okay, so if you are just popping in, please go ahead and comment, say your name, say hi, say where you're from, go ahead and put your pronouns there. And I do readings at the end of the broadcast. What I ask in return is that you share this broadcast live to your page, to a business page, to a group that you're part of, that you tag some friends in it and, kind of get the word out. So that's, go ahead and hashtag shared and I'll get you on the list. And Mel just popped in. Hi, Mel. Tina says, hi, Courtney. Did I miss a Courtney? So that's the Chariot and the Tarot de Marseille. And you still see he's got the crown. He still has the scepter. He's got the moon on his shoulder, on his epaulette still. So here we have the Thoth, which again is going to be a little bit more, always more, right? So here we have, looks like 2 griffins and 2 sphinx. So there's like 2 sets there. It looks almost like a statue in that gold armor holding that wheel. So instead of like holding the reins, it looks like he's holding the wheel. And he has the crab representing Cancer on top of his helmet. And down there, it's going to have the zodiac sign for Cancer and the Hebrew letter that it represents. Again, I don't read from a Kabbalic perspective, so I am not very well versed. If you are, please feel free to go ahead and pop that in there. I do love learning about it. It's just not been my focus. Courtney says hi. And the colors are phenomenal. Hi, Mel. And Coraline joined. Hello. So this is, again, kind of a weird looking chariot, but we get the idea. So moving forward, he almost looks like he's going to move forward in a very slow and steady way, just because it looks like his armor is gold and gold's heavy. So that's just kind of my logic coming into my intuition there. So there are those docs. And then I have a few more to share. We are right about that halfway mark. So I will go ahead and remind you, I will be doing readings, 1-card pulls at the end of the broadcast. Just get you on the list, and I will try to go in order that you have shared. And Divination Station is sponsored by True Paranormal, the podcast. Leo Rizzuti takes you on a journey into the supernatural with the mysterious, the strange, and things that simply cannot be explained. Join in by following True Paranormal, the podcast, on Facebook, where you'll be treated to spooky stories, tips for doing your own investigations, and interviews with paranormal investigators every week as you catch up with Leo on True Paranormal, the podcast. All right. So next, so this is a deck that was labeled, it was in the ephemera section of, I think it was Michael's around Halloween. And it was basically a major arcana deck without the Fool. And it was like $5, so I had to get it. And the card actually reminds me of a deck, an indie deck that is out and pretty popular now. Of course, I can't remember the name right off the top of my head, but it has that gold back or the black background with the kind of striking gold detail. And this does have that imagery. Has the two horses. He's driving it. This energy really looks more, instead of slow and steady, this one is like determined. So this card to me really says determination. And Wild Unknown, very popular kind of indie alternative deck. And I mean that as an alternative to the big three. I'll call them the big three. It does have really rich illustrations, really warm illustrations, even though it's mostly black and white. You really get the emotion that comes through. And there are, we have Rosemary popping in. Hello in Belfast. Yeah, it definitely looks like the golden thread. Yes, that is it. Yeah, I actually have the deck from Spirit too. I haven't pulled it out in this yet. I'm waiting for the right one to pull it out. Okay, so in the Wild Unknown, I do like that it has a little bit of like accent coloring, but it's not oversaturated. So this Chariot is just the horse. It looks like the wind is blowing and he's ready to go. He's got the pentagram here. So earthly, grounded, balance, and then the crescent moon up here. And then we have here, it could either be the sun or like the full moon. It usually strikes me as more full moon, especially since it is, the card itself represents Cancer. So it's more of that watery, intuitive feeling. So to me, it's like the horse is ready to go. And the way that the mane is kind of like blowing in the wind, it's like, it feels like it's like a soft but persistent breeze. Me too. I adore that. So that's kind of what, like, I can almost feel it. It's like a warm breeze. The horse is ready to go, and it's, ready to embark in its journey, where its intuition is taking it. So that is the Wild Unknown. And completely different, I have the Jungian Tarot. So the Jungian Tarot, of course, is all about archetypes. It really gets in like the psychological aspects of tarot and the different cards. And Caitlin just joined. Hi, Caitlin. So the figures all have a very like particular look to them. There's no writing on any of the cards. Even like in the suit cards, there's no numbers, there's no writing. You just go with it. So here he's holding the crown, and it almost looks like there's fire underneath. So it's like driven by spirit. Holding the crown. But in the balance, I see, it's got the two trees in the back. And he's like moving away from the water. There's a lot of water behind him. He's holding that crown, and then we have the stars kind of in the background there. And then it almost looks like he has a color wheel down here. So it looks like that wheel that was in the Thoth deck. So again, Carl Jung is all about archetypes, the anima and the animus. So the masculine, the feminine. So when reading cards from a Jungian aspect, there's always going to be layers like that. And then this deck is, I think it's the Celtic Tarot. This is it's another mini deck, and it just says to all believers. I got this when I purchased a lot of 5 or 6 decks, and it didn't really say what it was, but it's a really pretty deck. There's a lot to it, even though, these are like the little mini decks. So here we have, again, the idea of the charioteer holding that wand. He's got the 2 sphinx. We have the duality again with the black and white. And in the middle, this time, we have the yin yang. So again, masculine and feminine. So every card shows this balance a little bit differently, shows this duality. Ramona says evocative deck. Now it just popped up, so I'm going to ask, were you talking about the Jungian deck? And you can just toss the answer down there. And he kind of looks like he has like more of like that gentle, sensitive look, like the charioteer in the Rider-Waite. It's a little more up close. We still have the arc of stars above and the crown. And on that crown, I don't know if you can see it, it's a crescent moon. So again, we have that idea of the of intuition coming out there. We have that idea of moving forward, being very driven by energy, but also intuition. So again, it's all about that balance. All right, now let comments go ahead, and if you have any comments, any questions about the chariots, do feel free to go ahead and pop them in right now. I am about to go over the weekly forecast from yesterday. So I'll let everybody kind of catch up. The mini one, yeah. It's kind of cool. I haven't used it much, but I actually really like this. It reminds me of those extra cards in the Centennial Waite. I believe it was probably just like, I don't know, like the title page is what popped in my head, but that's not what they're called. But I'd actually probably leave it in there because it's cool. So last week, January 13th, the weekly forecast was 9 of Cups, Ace of Pentacles, and Wheel of Fortune. So 9 of Cups was all about emotion and getting in touch and working within your emotion and not standing in front of them. Ace of Pentacles, new opportunity in that financial realm. And Pam joined. Hi, Pam. And Wheel of Fortune. So fortune's turning, good luck coming. So I will say for me, this past week, new business opportunities have popped up. So that's always good. Really was asked to, kind of be called into my emotions and what they mean to me, and, kind of how I work with them and with other people. So that was, this spread did resonate for me throughout the week. So if any of you out there, if you watched the broadcast last week and you kind of had a feel of those energies, go ahead and pop that in there. I'm going to go ahead and do a quick shuffle and do a 3-card pull for the weekly forecast. And while I'm doing this, I'm going to go ahead and go over the tarot tip of the week while I'm shuffling. So tarot tip of the week is, do I use a book? How long do I use the book for? And how can I trust my intuition? So it's kind of all like wrapped together, right? Books versus intuition. Good mouse. She brought me another toy. I always suggest having books on hand. I do. I don't use them for every card and every pull, but it is a good way to, kind of learn those keywords, learn what they mean in different readings, get different ideas about what different authors have to say about the cards. I love Rachel Pollack, Benabelle Wen. I have her book. She's a great resource. I also have this book called The Ultimate Guide to Rider-Waite. Really great for the symbolism. So I use that one quite frequently. Eden Gray, if you want to go old school. I know I'm missing a ton of them, but I love books because, well, I think it's just that. I love books. But they really do give you a good idea and a good broad sense of what tarot is and how to read. But ultimately, you're going to use your intuition. Ultimately, when you're looking at a card, what you see, what pops out to you is going to lead the reading. You know, like with the Chariot, some people, keyed in on the yellow background. Some people keyed in on the Sphinx in front. That's your intuition. Trust it. Go with it. So yes, have books on hand. Use books. They're a great resource. I don't suggest pulling cards and just immediately going to the book. Pull a card, see what it might mean to you, kind of get an idea of that, and then go back to the book. Then check that. Online resources too. So kind of use both. But overall, it's going to be your intuition that really is going to kick in. So we're going to go ahead. I'm going to give them a cut. I'm going to pull the top three. So the first card for the week is Six of Swords. Six of Swords, we all know swords represents air. We did just enter Aquarius season. Happy birthday, Aquarius. So this has the energy of moving away from something. And it's not an easy decision to move away. It doesn't, like the figures in there, it's not like they're going on vacation. Which my roommate went on vacation today, so she's in Barbados. Definitely not dealing with that snow. Anyway, so it's not vacation. It's almost fleeing. You're leaving a tough situation. Secondly, we have the Page of Swords. Again, with that air element, pages are always learning. So once we're kind of leaving and getting away, we do have to learn our new surroundings, learn our new situation, and we might have to learn a new way to communicate that situation in that situation. And just looking at this card intuitively, he looks like he is ready to go. He looks bold. He's holding a sword. He's ready to go. The clouds are something that I key into with this. They look fluffy, but they also kind of have an idea, like that idea of movement. And the birds are above his head too. And before I pull this last card, I will remind you, if you do want a card reading from me, please mark that you shared. I do believe I got everybody down as they did. If I miss someone, please just remind me. And the last one is going to be Knight of Pentacles. So after all that air energy, after all of that processing, all of that mental processing, all of that work, all of that communication, we get the Knight of Pentacles. And that's his energy. He kind of wants to pause there. He wants to sit on it. So, after moving away, after, processing through those feelings, getting them out, we want to sit there for a while because it is kind of tiring, mentally exhausting. So I can see how these two cards would lead to, really wanting to stay in place for a bit and really evaluating where you are and how your resources are looking. Knight of Pentacles is very steadfast, can be stubborn, but that's not what I'm getting for this week's reading. I'm getting more of a steadfast and more of a check-in with your resources after kind of exhausting and discharging all of this mental energy. Kind of doing a grounding exercise. Yeah, Milagro says she's on a mission right now, Michelle. And if you do share, please hashtag shared. It is easier for us to go ahead and, see that you did. So I will go ahead and start the one card pulls. And so far I do have them for Ramona, for Tracy, for Alice, for Leslie, for Francita, for Heidi, and for Michelle. Because it'll say sharer once you do that, and it's just easy to go ahead and pop that in there. So I see Milagros. And again, it doesn't always let me go up to the front or go up to the top. Tina. Cool. And Katrina popped in. Hi. If you are popping in, we are at the part of the broadcast where I'm doing one card pulls. So if you do go ahead and share this out to your Facebook feed, to a page, to a group you're part of, and hashtag shared, I will get a card in for you. We've got about 15 minutes, so I'm going to go ahead and get started. Ashley, got you. And Ramona says, can I do a poll regarding the expansion of my business? Yes. So you actually were first, so we'll go ahead and do that. Yeah, and if you did share and you have a specific question, pop in there and I'll use that in the interpretation. So Ramona, the devil. So do you feel bound by anyone's specific like expectations or how you're supposed to do it? That's kind of what I'm getting here. It's also really, I'm getting some like heavy energy, like someone wants you to do something a specific way. And the devil is kind of like, it's like pulling down. So go ahead and comment on that, if you will. And definitely, if you have feedback for me, you can always message me separately on my page for it. Tracy? All right, Tracy, we have 6 of Pentacles. Girl, are you asking for help? Are you asking for assistance and not trying to do everything on your own? So that might be something you can check in there. So that was for Tracy. And Alice is next. Milagros says spirit. Leslie, toxic job interview. Yes. Okay, so yeah, Ramona, I would definitely check in with that very heavy devil energy with that. And how can you remove that chain and walk away from that energy, not necessarily the business? Alice, work or whatever else comes through. All right, Queen of Swords. This is for Alice. Queen of Swords, again, air energy. She doesn't mince words. She will say things as straightforward as possible. She is also the queen of boundaries. So if you are asking about work situation, maybe are there some work boundaries that have to be worked on? Yeah, Tracy, ask for some help. Okay, love you. Ask for help. So yeah, Alice, Queen of Swords, maybe looking at how you in the workplace being very direct, or if someone's being very direct with you and it almost feels harsh, maybe rethink if it is actually harsh or if it's just a message that needs to get through. All right, and Leslie, a new job started in November, and you left a toxic work environment. So we have a new job, a few months in. King of Swords, holy cow. So King of Swords. King of Swords in this new job would be, is it not quite a toxic energy, but it's not exactly the shift that you wanted. There's still someone there that's a little heavy-handed on the logic, a little heavy-handed on this should be done my way, this should be done my way, and it's just not not quite as much of a shift as you were hoping for. And let me know if that resonates. Trying to get my personal business going. The devil makes me think of my job. Yep, not being given direction on what they truly want. Oh, I hate that. I've had jobs like that. It's terrible. So there's expectations there, but you almost don't know which way to go. And then, someone obviously is going to get upset when you don't do it, because even though their expectations weren't communicated. All right. So Francita, if you are still on, I have not seen any specific. Yes, micromanager, the King of Swords. Yeah, someone that's really really heavy-handed is the term that's coming through. Okay, so for Francita, again, there was no specific question or direction, so we're going to see what Spirit has. King of Pentacles. So King of Pentacles is the energy of really, kind of reaching the end, reaching that fulfillment of resources. It's satisfaction. It's getting paid what you're due for the work that you've done, if that makes sense. So he's got to that point where he's got all of those lovely robes of, flowers and foliage. It does have that kind of earthy energy, does have those, like the bulls there. So it's got that nice earthy, grounded energy. Okay, so next we have Heidi. And I do not believe that Heidi asked a question there. Let me just scroll up real quick. Okay. Okay. All right. Heidi, we have Eight of Pentacles. Eight of Pentacles is all about working towards perfection, and almost repetitive. Repetitive work seems to be coming through for me. There really isn't a way to reach perfection, but it's more like standardization. So let me know if that resonates. But it is that kind of constant, like working towards something. Heidi, should you take the leap? I see this as a positive card, because it does have that energy of, practice makes perfect. Keep working towards that goal. And you can go ahead and comment if that resonates. And that was Eight of Pentacles. And Michelle is next. And I'm just doing a quick scroll. Don't think there's anything. Awesome. Heidi says it really does fit. All right, so we are winding down here. I have a few more. Michelle, I'm going to go ahead and pull a card for you. And that is Ace of Swords. More swords. So Ace of Swords is, again, air, communication. We're starting Aquarius, which is air sign. And this is all about really strong communicating your convictions. The sword has the crown on there. It's got, looks like almost like a sword, like lady, like sword in the lake feel is kind of what's popping into my head. It's kind of like brought up the seaweed with it. But yeah, really strong, the hand holding it is almost like emanating energy. So there's a really strong, like, mental energy that's going to come out. Milagros, nope, you are next. So this one, again, was Michelle, was Ace of Swords. So really communicating your convictions. If that does resonate, go ahead and put that in the notes. Milagros is next. And as I'm shuffling here, you can find me at Divination Station Tarot is my Facebook page. You can pop over there. I post pretty much daily of cards, altar space, kind of just what I have going on in my magical witchy world. Milagros. So we have the Emperor. Covered the Emperor in pretty great detail a few broadcasts ago. The Emperor is all about authority, direct masculine energy. Also represents Aries. Kind of that energy of like order to chaos. And I'm kind of getting right now that maybe adding structure to whatever's going on right now might not be a bad idea. So whatever that situation is and whatever that looks like for you, kind of going ahead and seeing how you can add a little bit more structure to that. And again, let me know if that resonates. All right, Tina is next. Tina, you got a few seconds if you want to go ahead and let me know anything in particular that you would like the reading to be about. Otherwise, we're just gonna go. Strength. Strength is internal strength, fortitude, the courage to face every day, and with that inner strength. And it's never ending. So Spirit wants you to know you have the strength to continue. You have that internal strength to kind of tame the lion and have that kind of reciprocal relationship. And it's a never-ending feedback loop. We have the lemniscat up there, so it's kind of a never-ending cycle. So you have so much strength. You have all of the strength in the world. All of the strength that you'll ever need, you have. And I hope that resonates. All right. And Rosemary says, anything that wants to come out. Okay, Maligra says, yes, finally taking control of my life and leaving the BS behind. Yes, that's Emperor energy. Order to chaos. Everything that doesn't fit, get rid of it. Everything that's left, moving forward. Again, Chariot. All right, and finally, we have Rosemary. And while I'm shuffling here, next broadcast will be on strength. So we will be doing a deep dive into the strength card. We'll start off that second row of the majors. And be sure to join me then. And this is for Rosemary, Knight of Pentacles. All right, so you got double Knight of Pentacles for this week. Really take a check and really do a deep dive on that. So really do a deep dive, really do some grounding exercises and meditation because you got a choice there. We got about a minute left. I do want to thank you for joining me, Liz Whitaker, at 3 of Cups, Divine Arts. Again, be sure to check out True Paranormal, the podcast, and check out all of the other shows on 3 of Cups. Including Coraline's, which is coming up right at 9. So when I jump off, you're going to get the notification that she's on there, and go ahead and watch hers. I know I will be. So again, thank you for joining me and our deep dive on the Chariot. Make sure you do like the page, turn on the bell for you get all notifications for any of our 3 of Cups shows. And I'm going to go ahead and sign off. Thank you. Okay, bye. Jennifer, you just missed it. Watch the replay. If you are watching the replay, #replay, and we'll get to you. Thank you.